2,000 years ago, an Egyptian scholar by the name of Eratosthenes performed an experiment that he claimed proved the Earth to be a sphere. However, there are serious doubts about the accuracy of his data and his scientific procedures. Dr. Leo Ferrari explains.
Oh, the Eratosthenes experiment is an experiment supposedly conducted in the 1st century, whereby this ingenious person was supposed to have proved, I say that in quotes, that the Earth was a sphere of some 4,000 miles radius. Eratosthenes one day noticed that the sun was directly overhead in Syene, whereas he noticed that on the same day, at the same time, the sun made an angle of 7.2 degrees to the vertical at Alexandria, which was some 530 miles away. How did Eratosthenes in the 1st century know what the sun was doing on the same day in two places which are 530 miles apart? One can take all those same data, knowing that the Earth is flat. In one place you have the sun directly overhead, and at another place, at the same time, at 530 miles away, let us suppose that it does make an angle of 7.2 degrees to the vertical. Then we have a right-angled triangle, which it can be easily shown the sun is some 4,000 miles up in the sky. These superficial, even, considerations show that it's impossible. The whole thing, it's a story, a fairy story made up and mindlessly repeated in textbooks.
Now people will say, well, you can't be thinking that the Earth is flat because people, they fly around it. They take boats around it. Yeah, we know, like Magellan. And people like NASA love to throw these things right in our face. For instance, this is the NASA-designed Magellan mission patch. Notice anything weird about it? It's a boat that goes in a circle. Do you see that? Is it going around a globe? Or is it making a circle around a flat disc?
The sailor thinks that he's traveling around the Earth this way, when in effect he's traveling around the Earth this way. And he's creating a circle. He's moving in a continuous direction around. He goes through the various parts of the circle, and he comes back where he started from, spun around this way.
Does running round your neighborhood prove that the neighborhood is round?
To say that Earth must be a sphere because other things look like they might be spheres is foolish. There is Earth, what we are on, teeming with life and providing us with what we need to be able to sustain or destroy. To build civilizations on a vast flat surface where large bodies of water are incapable of curving. Earth, where curvature and motion cannot be detected. And then there's other celestial bodies that aren't teeming with life. And we really don't know what they are or what they look like up close.
So people who believe in the globe Earth like to say, the sun and the moon and all the planets are spheres. You can just tell by looking at them, they're spheres. So what makes you think Earth is flat and not a sphere? This in my hand is a sphere, right? Oops. But it's not. So how the fuck do you know the moon isn't just a half sphere or the sun isn't just a half sphere? How do you know when you're looking at the sun, it isn't that on the other side? You don't! You ever seen the other side of the sun? No, you haven't. You haven't ever seen the other side of any of those fucking things. This just proves if you can't see the back of something, you don't know what the fuck it is.
It's a fallacy to say, well, everything else out there is spherical, so we must be. You know, how this is special. You know, so why? It's like saying a basketball is round, so why isn't the court round? You know, it's a fallacy.
Spherical Earth paradigm is coming to an end. There is no curve to be found or measured. And there's hints sprinkled all over the place, like this popular study, for instance. A study conducted by Department of Geography, Texas State University, and Department of Geography, Arizona State University, concludes that the state of Kansas is flatter than a pancake. On a scale where 1.0 means perfect flatness, the calculated flatness of the pancake is approximately 0.957. That's pretty flat, but Kansas is 0.9997 flat over its length of 400 miles. a distance that should render 20 miles of curvature from one side to the other on a sphere that's 25,000 miles in circumference.
In 2003, researchers did the measurements and found that Kansas is, in fact, literally flatter than a pancake. Of course, the Earth is not flat, the Earth is round. Otherwise, travelers would be falling off the edge all the time.
Perspective of living on a globe is preposterous, it's ridiculous, it's hilarious how we are taught to perceive the world we live on, because basically even when trying to depict it, it's hilarious. They have no way of depicting it without it being comical. You have whales climbing the curve, like, I mean, okay, let's just say gravity is holding the water in the whale in the water. What is assisting him to climb? Is gravity doing that too?
This is the universe. And
complete universe.
Yes, this system is the
Is
complete
everything.
Is everything. Everything that NASA has put out is CGI, is fake.
We don't have a picture of our Earth, except for the nice composite fake images NASA gives you to make sure you keep believing you're in a ball and keep arguing on their behalf, keep fighting for them, keep telling people we went to the moon, simply because you can't let your mind think of the possibility that someone lied to you. The government lied to you. They can't lie. They're my government. Believe me, it's hard for all of us.
That's crazy. The government doesn't lie to people.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
You went up on top of your house and saw the curvature. You went on a plane and saw the curvature. No, you didn't. There is no curvature. Go try and fucking measure it. You have to measure it on water, okay? Try and measure it on a long canal. Try and measure it on sea. Use a laser level. Take a really, really long piece of rope. Do whatever you gotta do to try to measure this supposed curvature and film it. And then post it. And if your curvature is real, well then all us flat earthers will look stupid, huh? So show me your homegrown experiments, because our homegrown experiments, like the Bedford level experiment, they show a flat earth every single time. There is no curvature. You know how I know? I tried to debunk the flat earth and I failed. That's how most of us get started. We try to debunk the flat earth and we fail.
The Felix Baumgartner Red Bull Dive outside camera shows the same amount of curvature of Earth from surface level to jump height, proving it to be a deceiving fish-eyed wide-angle lens, while the inside regular camera shows a perfectly flat horizon eye level at 128,000 feet, which is only consistent with a flat plane. Some people claim to have seen the curvature of the Earth out their airplane windows. The glass used in all commercial airplanes, however, is curved to remain flush with the fuselage. This creates a slight effect mixed with the confirmation bias people mistake for being the alleged curvature of the Earth. In actuality, the fact that you see the horizon at eye level at 35,000 feet out both port and starboard windows proves the Earth is flat.
We know intuitively if we stand on a beach with a panoramic view that the sea is flat. It's flat at sea level, it's flat from the top of Mount Everest, it's flat from over 20 miles high.
From Anchorage, Alaska, on a clear day, at an elevation of 102 feet, Mount Foraker can be seen by the naked eye. At 120 miles away, the summit should be leaning away from the observer and hidden by 7,719 feet of bald earth, when in reality the entire mountain, from base to summit, can be seen standing upright. Another example from Anchorage, Alaska is Mount McKinley. At 130 miles away on the ball earth, the 20,320 foot summit should be leaning away from the observer and almost half covered by 9,220 feet of curved earth. But just like Mount Foraker, Mount McKinley is always seen standing straight up and visible from base to summit. Also from Genoa, the island of Corsica can often be seen at 99 miles away. On the ball Earth, Corsica should be hidden behind 5,245 feet, almost a mile of curvature. A third instance from Genoa is the island of Capraia. At 102 miles away, on the ball Earth, Capraia should be hidden behind 5,605 feet. That's over a mile of curvature.
And here's the furthest one I've found so far. This is my record so far. I'm sure it'll keep on growing. This is the Reunion Island from the Isle of Mauritius. It's 149 miles away. It's a long, long, long way away. And once again, we can see the peak, but we can also see most of the West Island. This is quite clearly a very, very good observational day. Very clear, very calm. The highest peak on Reunion Island is 3,072 metres tall. It's just under 2 miles. 149 miles away, everything should be behind 2.8 miles of curvature. Should have curved way, way away. And again, it's not just the tops we can see much more, we can see a lot more.
The Suez Canal, connecting the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, is 100 miles long without any locks, making the water an uninterrupted continuation of the two seas. When constructed, the Earth's supposed curvature was not taken into account. It was dug along a horizontal datum line, 26 feet below sea level, passing through several lakes from one sea to the other, with the datum line and the water's surface running perfectly parallel over the 100 miles. Surveyors, engineers, and architects are never required to factor the supposed curvature of the Earth into their projects. Canals, railways, bridges, and tunnels, for example, are always cut and laid horizontally, often over hundreds of miles without any allowance for curvature. Engineer W. Winkler was published in the Earth Review regarding the Earth's supposed curvature, stating, "As an engineer of many years' standing, I saw that this absurd allowance is only permitted in school books. No engineer would dream of allowing anything of the kind. I have projected many miles of railways and many more of canals, and the allowance has not even been thought of, much less allowed for. This allowance for curvature means this, that it is 8 inches for the first mile of a canal and increasing at the ratio by the square of the distance in miles. Thus a small navigable canal for boats, say 30 miles long, will have, by the above rule, an allowance for curvature of 600 feet. Think of that, and then please credit engineers as not being quite such fools. Nothing of the sort is allowed."